Hello, hello. Papa Dog and I are making you a video for protection. Yes, Papa Dog. Yes, my God. You are an orange god. That's what you are. With infinite pink love. Okay, so you sit down in maybe the lotus position, like with legs across, like this. And make sure you relax your shoulders, arch your neck, straighten your spinal cord all the way up, like all the way into the sky. Back of the head, the top of the head too. You can do the arching. Make sure you breathe deeply through the abdomen and into the entire chest and fill out the entire lungs. Then hold the breath for a few moments. And then slowly breathe out and repeat. Keep doing this. And then as you are doing this, you envision yourself to be in a very, very large radius, in the center of a very large pink bubble. And that pink bubble, kind of like this, the shapes that I paint, and the one that I gave you on Facebook, the one I made on my tablet. I always make these same shapes. These are all, basically, psychologically, they are all pink uteruses. They're all mother womb, that protects us. Large bird just flew on top of the roof. And all of my artworks they all contain this energy of the big pink bubble that I have always wanted to, always have been putting myself into. I've also put myself into light blue bubbles and darker blue bubbles, or any kind of color. My blue god, that's a long story with the blue god. I'll tell you that another time, but that started to reveal itself to me in 2003. It's a very interesting story. And so out of this, I've just been painting the blue god in all kinds of different shapes, and animal forms, human forms, plant forms, earth forms, any kind of amorphous form, sea creature form, any kind of color, And this shape in itself is also representative for the pink uterus, that protects us when we are in the womb of our mothers, when the world was still seemingly safe, until we are released into this brutal ice cold world. And with all the neurotic people, it already starts at birth. The encounter with very neurotic people. That's why we need to do the Frederic Leboyer birth. The birth has to be done in warm water with classical music. To all of the natalists out there, So Mirka and I, we are not natalists. We decided not to be natalists, and I thank you for that very much, Mirka. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So sorry I said the name wrong in my other video. That's ridiculous. I'm ridiculous with names. It's really, particularly Slavic names. They're very hard for me to remember, because on first glance it all feels like it's the same name. So, but that's just the way, you know, my brain is wired at this point. So I'll get used to this. I remember my friend Katja had a horse named Zirka. And I have to remember Zirka. I just replace the S with an M, Mirka. So and then I think I can neuronally sort of implement this memory. And it's a nice memory. I always like to remember horses. So, and I had a horse named Snickers from the candy bar. And my mother had a horse named Skúmur, which is an Icelandic name. He is from Iceland. He was from Iceland. He died. And she has another one now named Ori, and that is also an Icelandic name, and he's also from Iceland. And he's still alive, and he's very old. He's over 30. So, and my mother is very old too. So I think she doesn't ride him anymore, just walks him a little bit through that landscape. And that's what I used to do in the very end before I came to the United States, where I didn't have the chance to do horseback riding. In the end, I was just walking the horse because I didn't want to burden the horse. You know, I would have to have a draft horse, a Belgian Brabant, in order to sit on that horse, but I would not I wouldn't do all the disciplinary things with the horse. I don't like to discipline an animal. An animal should be, you know, on a loose halter without the metal in the mouth. And the horse should be eating and moseying through nature and enjoying himself and grazing and without a saddle, and you just sit on that cushioned back and you lean back and you enjoy, and that's how life should be, you know. So, but here I don't have money. I can't buy a horse. I don't have the land for it. A horse needs a lot of land and needs a lot of acres. I'm saying this for all people out there. You know, sometimes I see animals down at the other house in that area. I see a lot of animals on small acreage, and it always aches my heart when I see that. Animals need to have a lot of land, particularly large animals like horses and cows and pigs. They need many, many, many acres, and we need to do acre rotation. So, but that's another story. I always get sidetracked. I want to do the pink bubble meditation. So we envision ourselves to be in the middle of a very, very large pink bubble. And that pink bubble is spanning a radius of 1 kilometer. And all the animals that are falling into that radius, into all directions, into the earth and into the sky and all the way around us, they all fall into this protective range. And that's a wonderful thing to imagine and to meditate on, with that arching, with the straightening of the spine, with the breathing, and imagining that you are protected 100% by this pink bubble. And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I personally, you know, when I had that encounter with the blue god, I call him the blue god. Later on, I found out that this blue god exists. It is actually a Hindu god. And I was amazed about this. But this Hindu god is free from religion. You know, it doesn't want to be associated with Hinduism or any religion, but people make it out of that. So, but this thing has occurred in energetic form to other people as well. And what this thing actually is, it's called Lord Vishnu, and also Krishna and Gautama Buddha. Okay, that's all the same thing. I call it he, so, but it could be an it, could be a she. It's beyond titles. And what it really is, it is an 8 on the side. It is the infinity. It's the infinite cosmos. That's what that is. And it manifests itself sometimes in certain shapes, in animal forms, many times, and sometimes in people forms, female or male. And it brings across a message. And it does what it can according to the knowledge level and the soul developmental level of people. And it communicates. And it's wonderful. And I've tuned into this energy many, many, many times. And I can write whole books about this now. And it's very far out there, so I don't expect anyone to go along with it, because I can't expect people to follow me all the way out into space with this. But it can be, you can, without having to buy into it, you can just make your own God. I tell people to make their own gods. They can make it in any shape. Okay. And that is gonna be their protector. That's gonna be it's gonna be their door, maybe. That's gonna be their portal to the infinite. So, and to the protection, and to the wholeness. Okay. And that can take any form you want to give it. And so just the bottom line is, it is the energy of infinite kindness, infinite love, infinite compassion, and infinite art, and infinite joy, and giving, and altruism. That's what it is. Okay. It is never violent. It never sends someone to hell. There is no hell. That's a person-made, people-made thing. It's religion. Religion is not truth. It's never truth. No matter what religion that is. Could be Buddhism. It's not true. It's not based on truth. Okay? It's based on ideas. And that's, the Buddha actually talked about this. The Buddha actually said not to fall into that trap of mind, but people don't listen, and they don't really understand. So they do it, they fall into that mind trap because their brains are wired like this. But truth has nothing to do with religions or threats or authority or oppression or suppression or hierarchies. Hierarchies, that's a human-made construction. So truth is free from all of this. And so we can meditate on this, and we can imagine our own God in any shape. You can imagine a pink bubble. And I make many pink shapes like this, amorphous bubble type shapes that are very uterine in character and very protective and shielding, and within this bubble, we can let go. We don't have to pretend anything anymore to ourselves. We can let go of the self-images that we have created, and every human does it. The self-images are coming from the ego. The ego is a psychological defense mechanism to ward off the emotional pain from the past. It means well, and we shouldn't hate it because of this. We shouldn't resist it, as we shouldn't resist anything. Protect ourselves, but not be in a struggle of energetic resistance to something. If there's a feeling, we should not say to ourselves, now I need to resist that feeling that comes up. We have to allow it, and we have to let it flow, and we have to know that we can protect ourselves, that we are protected, that we are loved, and that we have these mental tools available that we can use. And with this, we can drive forward into the future. We can move forward. We can be in a flowing forward movement. And we are not obstructed by anything or suppressed. We are free and we are protected. And that's really nice to meditate on this, to be in this pink bubble. You are protected by your guard, and the guard is also part of and a portal of the infinite cosmos. And that's very nice. And so I envision this every day. This is part of my life. And many times I have to stop in between what I'm doing, and I have to contemplate on this. And I also kiss my wrist. This is the wrist that had a tendonitis injury in 2010 from carrying something up too heavy. My husband's always thinking that since I'm bigger than he is, taller and bigger, I'm this big Michelin tire man, construction worker, and so he thinks that because of that I should be able to carry heavier things than he can carry. But that's an illusion. He is still stronger than I am, and that has to do with gender. Men are stronger than women naturally. I mean, there are some very strong women out there, but in general the men are stronger. So this is a fact, for the feminists out there. This is just a fact. So, but intellectually we are on equal. We are on eye level. So, and we have different brains. Women are better at sociology, psychology, metaphysics, philosophy, those kind of things. They are also better at mending families together. And men are more into warfare, which is not very smart. They are more into strategy in general. They're more into math. They are more into coordinating and logistics and how to assemble things. This has been proven. So, and it's not a problem. We can live with that. So we need to supplement each other, men and women. We need to come together and we need to put our brains together, and that's what Paul and I have been doing for the last 18 or so years, and we've accomplished something through that. So alone I would not have done it. Alone he would not have done it. So together we can do it, and I recommend that to other people as well. So Men, they have absolutely, there's absolutely no ground to stand on in terms of viewing women as their sub-persons, you know. So I've been called all these names already, you know. I've been called weak and whatever. I mean, all kinds of things, you know. I don't want to get into it now, but, you know, I know firsthand how a lot of men think. And so this is my message to the world, you know. We are equal, and we have different brains, and they're on equal eye level in terms of mental power and strength, yes, intellectual power and strength, and intelligence, power and strength, and just different areas, you know, that are covered. Sometimes they overlap, and not everyone is extremely this or extremely that. And most people are somewhere in between. I happen to be extremely on the female, even though I look like a truck driver. I am extremely on the female because I did that test, because I wanted to see, because I've always had this feeling that my mother was a little towards the male side, and that's why I had this clash with my mother. And indeed, it turned out to be the case. I'm extremely on the female end, on the very last notch. I was absolutely amazed about this. And my husband was like I think he was on the very last notch on the male side, which is very strange. So yeah, and that can cause a lot of misunderstandings, you know, between people when they have differently wired brains. And so that's just the case, that they are differently wired. They have this different, there's a different proportion in terms of certain processing areas. So, but together we can complement we can supplement one another, and then it will work. So for anyone, you know, I'm making these videos not just for women. I make these videos for all people. I'm not a militant feminist. I want all beings to be protected, you know. All beings who are gentle, you know, all loving, kind. Even sharks, I mean, they don't know better, you know. But all kind people, and I want all the violent people to go within themselves, and I want all of them to transcend that state of unempowerment. And so that's my wish for the world. And so yeah, that's the meditation of protecting yourself, putting yourself into the pink bubble and breathing with it and straightening the back and envisioning to be protected. And tomorrow I will make you one about empowerment, and I will tell the martyr story with that. Okay, you guys take care. Bye bye.